Welcome back. It's 16 minutes after 2 o'clock. Now, after 14 long years, construction of the Medupi power station is finally complete. Eskom maintains this plant is crucial to the stability of South Africa's power supply. So does this signal the end of load shedding? Let's chat to energy expert Ted Blom. Mr. Blom, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Welcome to the Midday View here on eNCA. Are the days of load shedding behind us?
Look, I think everybody's glad that Eskom's announced that Medupi is finished, but the fact of the matter is it's actually a long way from finished. They still have to fix up 5 units that have got design problems, and that will take them another 2 years at least. And then what they haven't told you is that under the pledge with the finance from the World Bank, they have to still erect scrubbers. Medupi is probably one of the dirtiest power stations in the world at the moment, in that they haven't fitted scrubbers to clean up the emissions, and that will take another 3 to 4 years. Yes, Eskom might be blowing the trumpets today, but the fact of the matter is, like always, they're only telling half the truth. And as at 60 days ago, on the 2nd of June, Medupi could hardly deliver half of its output. So I don't know when it's going to deliver full output. It's certainly not today.
So there's nothing to celebrate?
I think I'm glad that they finished with Unit 1, which is the last unit. What they also haven't told the public why they started at Unit 6, and that is because they messed up the geotechnicals of that power station, and that's why they couldn't start building at Unit 1. I don't know how they got around it eventually, except that it would have cost a lot of money extra.
How much power will the whole Medupi thing, when it's done, what is it targeting to feed into the grid?
Okay, so it was planned to put in 4,800 odd megawatts of power. 6 units at 800 megawatts each, roughly, at 794 to be technical. But Eskom, Medupi has never put out that amount of power, and it probably won't do that for at least another 2 years. As I said, they've got to fix up the design issues, and they also haven't talked about fitting those scrubbers, which contractually they are bound to do as part of the World Bank financing to keep the air clean around Medupi.
So how much, from what you know, currently is Medupi generating?
Well, on the 2nd of June, when we had level 6 load shedding, which Eskom announced as level 2, and I think I've proved that they lied again, at that stage, Medupi was putting out half. So around about 2,400, 2,500 megawatts out of the stated planned 4,800 megawatts.
So should we expect that to go, now that they've announced that Unit 1 is done, that it will go above that number?
No. They still have to fix up the other 5 units to have massive design flaws. They haven't finished fixing those up yet. So they have to go back now to Unit 6, which they built first, and then Unit 5, 4, 3, and 2, which they have to fix up the design errors and try and improve the output of each of those units.
Yeah, well, to be fair to Eskom, I mean, when I saw their statement, and they were quoting the gentleman who's in charge of the capital expenditure at Eskom, Mr. Bheki Nxumalo, he did say that what remains for the project is the last part of implementing the project. And then that last part of implementing the project is on some agreed technical solutions. I guess the scrubbers will fall under that, and the boiler design defects, and that these repairs will be completed over the next 24 months. So ideally, the next 2 years are going to be critical for Medupi then.
Absolutely, because they've got to fix up all the messes that they made during construction. And the scrubbers are not included in this program. Eskom has been ducking and diving about putting these scrubbers in. And I think it's time for the World Bank to flex its muscles and remind Eskom that as part and parcel of that financing arrangement, they undertook to clean the scrubbers. In other words, to provide clean emissions and not dirty emissions as they are currently doing. So yes, I don't think Medupi will be finished completely as per plan, including the scrubbers, before 2026.
Okay, that's going to be a long time. And looking at the cost, I mean, this project, this power station was supposed to have been built originally for only 80 billion rand, and we're sitting now at above 230 billion rand. Should we anticipate more money then to be spent on those remaining, the fixing, repairing, the remaining design defects, and also the scrubbers and so on?
Yes. Okay. So let me just remind the public. I'm on record, and I stand by my record because I verified it subsequently. When I saw the first Medupi quotation, it was 34 billion rand. After the involvement of Chancellor House and the ANC and corruption, it moved up to 80-odd billion rand. And it's currently running at 230 billion odd rand, and I don't anticipate to be finished under 300 billion rand once they finish the scrubbers. So there's still a lot of money that needs to be spent. Where Eskom's going to find the money, I don't know, but a lot of money still has to be found to finish off the job properly.
So, I mean, as you've mentioned, there was an issue of corruption. We know there was a lot of stealing. I mean, even the government has accepted that. Hence, we are sitting with a state capture inquiry, and Eskom's affairs are being exposed there. And we know the role of the Gupta family in that saga as well. But we are paying for this now. We are paying for this through tariff increases. And NERSA keeps on giving Eskom more increases every year, and is beginning to bite us very badly as consumers and customers.
Okay, so let me put it on record, and this hurts me really very badly. But unfortunately, the current 15% increase that you and I have been forced to pay for the municipalities on the 1st of July and for Eskom customers from the 1st of April is another corrupt action between NERSA and Eskom. It's collusion. The court never found that there was a 15% increase due. What happened was NERSA and Eskom colluded that they would increase the tariffs by 15% and made that a court order. So it wasn't the result of a court hearing and finding. And in fact, the public was never invited to that court session. So that court session still has to be played out. And I'm afraid there's lots of evidence of further collusion. And that's a sore word, because the regulator is supposed to look after your and my interests. But there's been collusion between the regulator and Eskom. And that's why we got a 15.3% tariff increase. And if we don't stop it, it will carry on for the next 3 years at least.
I think we need to speak to NERSA, because as a regulator, they need to be holding Eskom accountable, not colluding with them. They need to make sure that whatever Eskom does is fair at the end of the day to customers as well. But also, I guess they have to make sure that Eskom stays in business. Ted Blom, thank you very much for your insights and your on-the-record assertions, as usual, about how things are as far as Eskom is concerned. He thinks up to 2026, Medupi will not be firing up those 4,800-odd megawatt power that we need into the grid. And from 2023 only, we'll begin to see a little bit of more power being fed into the grid. What Eskom has announced today is still got another 24 months to go to be fixed, but at least Unit 1 is done and dusted. That completes everything, but there's some defects there that need to be fixed, including commitments that have been made in terms of financing to make sure that what Medupi does is clean and good to the environment.